So we're coming up to the end of our grand quest through the Tomb King's legendary lords, and now the final two heroes, the Tomb King legendary heroes of the Total of, I'm sorry, not the Total War, but the tabletop 8th edition book here. We've got two of the just hero classes, like there's the Herald and the oh, what is it? Let me see here. The Necrotect. So basically here, these two guys are not what we're probably going to see in the game realistically. We'll split these into two videos as we have the other ones, give them their own video for each, but we'll do the same kind of standard fare here. We'll read through the entirety of the lore blurb, then we'll read through their special rules and kind of talk about their magic items as well. Do I really think that these guys will be in the Tomb King DLC? I don't really think so. Maybe Nekaph here will, or Nekaph, I'm not really sure which one, will as maybe like a Krell level summon, but I don't think he overly will. But we'll talk now about the Herald Nekaph, emissary of Settra. Nekaph is Settra's chosen herald, his personal champion and most trusted servant, loyal unto death and beyond into the next life. When Settra left the mortal realm, Nekaph was the first to commit suicide, and his body was entombed beside his lord. When Settra the Imperishable awoke from his centuries of slumber, Nekaph's mummified form was already standing by, prepared to fulfill his king's indomitable will and smite his enemies once more. The Herald Nekaph was not born of noble birth. Indeed, it was whispered that he was not even born of Nehekaran blood, and that his parents were from the uncivilized tribes to the north of the Great Land. Thus, as Nekaph grew into a man and joined the legions of Khemri's army, he was considered by all to be little more than an uncouth barbarian. Despite his heritage, however, Nekaph's strength, feats of skill, and unswerving loyalty to his king were unsurpassed. Nekaph distinguished himself in battle time and again, and before his 18th year, he was inducted into the prestigious rank of the elite Tomb Guard. Within 2 years, Nekaph had risen to command Settra's royal guard, and soon after he was appointed to his personal herald, for there was no more incorruptible warrior in all of Nehekara. As a mark of Settra's trust in his chosen champion, Nekaph was gifted the Flail of Skulls, an unmistakable symbol of Settra's power, and a weapon that the ruler of Khemri himself once wielded on the field of battle. Nekaph was a formidable man in life, renowned for his powerful physique and uncompromising sense of duty. Even unarmed, Nekaph was deadly, and he could cave in the skulls of his opponents with a single blow of his fist. Though he slew many enemies at the behest of Settra, it was only when he fought duels on behalf of his king that the Herald Nekaph's true warrior potential was reached, for he would fight all the harder knowing that the honor of his lord was at stake, something far more important than his own life. Nekaph would deflect the blows of his opponent with consummate skill before delivering a fatal blow of his own. Nekaph was not only a mighty warrior, he was also possessed of a great intelligence. This is an essential quality in any Tomb Herald, for they must be able to remember their lord's many and elaborate titles. Indeed, such was Settra's power and achievements that reciting his entire list of titles took Nekaph almost 2 hours. Nekaph rides from city to city, as he did in life, at the head of one of Settra's eternal legions. When they arrive at the enemy's gates, Nekaph halts and demands an audience with the city's rulers. When the cowering leaders come forth, the emissary of Settra addresses them and offers them a single chance to surrender. Though his jaw does not move, and no discernible sound utters from his lipless mouth, Nekaph's trembling foes hear a deep voice echoing in their heads. Rulers of nations quake with fear as Nekaph demands their fealty, and they realize that their doom has arrived. Those that refuse to kneel before the might of Settra, or those that foolishly choose to attack Nekaph's assembled legion, must face the unbridled wrath of Khemri. Leading from the front, Nekaph advances towards his foes, smashing them asunder with every blow of his Flail of Skulls. As the bodies of the enemies stack up and the undead legions continue their implacable advance, the defenders realize the futility of their resistance. But the Herald of Nekaph shows no mercy. The time for surrender has long since passed, for once battle has been joined, no parley can be entered into. Defiance is met only with death, and at the battle's end, the skull of another conquered king will hang from Nekaph's magical flail. So you have this pretty awesome hero here, this emissary, etc., this herald, Tomb King Herald, or Tomb Herald. And what's cool here is that he's not Khemri, he's not Nehekaran, he's not from Khemri. He is actually from the Great Land to the north, which is, as we know, what would be the border princes. So we've got the Tilia, Estalia, the border princes themselves. We have further north into like Ostland and the such. So he is definitely from that race of humans, and that before the actual coming of Sigmar, all of them were tribesmen. There were these what is considered barbaric tribes. You have even Bretonnia spurs out from what the Bretonii tribe in modern day Athelloren and Bretonnia. Even the Empire, it was at one point just a series of tribes united by Sigmar. So that's where you get Nekaph coming from, is that area, and it's kind of interesting to see how he is from there. I wonder what his name would have been. Where he be up there? Where would he actually still be up there? But he doesn't have a ton of crazy rules here. He's got a sworn bodyguard thing, so he kind of always protects Cetra. He has the same kind of flammable things that almost every other Tomb King has, and he also has Killing Blow. And we've seen Killing Blow translate into Total War Warhammer 2 as anti-infantry and AP. It's the same thing that the Graveguard have in the tabletop. They have AP, they have anti-infantry in Total War Warhammer 2, or 1 and 2. But he is also Nehekar and Undead, so all of the spells of the Sand of Khemri would or Tomb, or the Lore of Khemri would apply to him. But it does have these two abilities here, Cetra's Champion and Herald of Despair. And the way Cetra's Champion looks at it, it's basically if you engage in a challenge, which you really can't do in Total War Warhammer 2, obviously. But that's what Wulfric's big claim to fame was. You know, he had all these special abilities that made him a beast in challenges. So what they did for Wulfric was they gave him some activatable, cooldowns that made us minus 30 to defense, and just becomes a dumpster on things, and he can attack things hard and heavy. So maybe they'll do something like that with Cetra's Champion, because what it does is it gives him a ward save, and his Killing Blow is more likely to take effect. So what I could see it being is like an activatable ability, like, just actually even just call it Cetra's Champion, and he presses it, and he'll get like a weapon damage buff, a because I'm factoring how it would fit to this Killing Blow. So maybe like a weapon damage % increase, and also an AP increase. Then lastly, a small physical resistance or a ward save resistance to him. Like that'd be a pretty awesome way to kind of translate Cetra's Champion into the Total War arena. Also, we've got Heralded Despair, meaning that anything in base contact of him pretty much has to. It affects their fear roll. So maybe things in base contact around here, or I'm sorry, things in Total War Warhammer just have like a -6 to their leadership or something like that. Just a prevalent aura on top of his causing fear that he would already be doing. So I could definitely see that happening here. But he also has a single magic item, and that's going to be kind of the case here with the heroes. The heroes in the tabletop were not very pivotal. You didn't really often take them, to be totally honest. Even like we take a look at some of the legendary lords that we see with Wulfric, or we see with Throg. Throg, while a very strong and thematic lord, wasn't taken a whole ton in tabletop unless you were deliberately trying to go with a troll build. There were just better counterparts in the legendary lord roster, I guess you could say, the special character roster. And for the most part, there weren't a ton of these heroes that were worth taking. I mean, there were some cool ones and some good ones, but for the most part, like Corhill, it was a good example of a hero that is cool, but I wouldn't really take him. For the most part, we're very lackluster. You're better off spending more points on your lord or getting a special character lord. So that would explain why the hero portion of these books is very light. It's also meant for lighter skirmish type play, not for these grand sweeping armies. So the Flail of Skulls. This flail is made from the gilded skulls of conquered kings, whose skulls bite into their victims. And essentially with this, it's a two-handed weapon, so it'd be kind of maybe like a great weapon. And anything that it hits with this, it gives it +2 strength, and it causes multiple wounds. So maybe you would see a mechanic with this where actually equipping him with it would give him increased weapon strength, or maybe increased weapon attack. But I'm not sure how they do the multiple wounds in Total War Warhammer. I don't know of many items that have made that jump across and how they translate. So maybe it could be something where you click it and it's just got a quick little maybe a direct damage actual ability of like Flail of Skulls or something like that, or maybe it just uses the Flaming Skull fire spell ability, because they have done that. They've taken certain things and they kind of added a little twist on it based off of the lore of things, and added like, oh, okay, like or Teclis's ability to use basically Fiery Convocation on a unit, which is not necessarily in the tabletop. He doesn't have a ring that casts a spell like that. He has cooler scrolls, but those are overpowered. You can basically just recast shit a bunch of times. But this kind of goes over the Herald Nekaph here, and again, he is a little lackluster because he is just a simple hero. But in the next video, we'll be covering, as I turn the page and find out his full name, Ramhotep the Visionary, Necrotect of Qatar. And we'll also be covering, next week is going to be a big week, guys. We're going to be doing a lot of Tomb King videos, because my sneaking suspicion is that we'll be getting a Tomb King announcement. So we'll be having on, I believe, Tuesday, I'm going to be doing the history of the Tomb Kings. Then Thursday or Friday, we'll be doing the actual individual lore of every single unit and stuff like that. So just like we've done with some of our Skaven or High Elves or Dark Elves, where we go into the nitty gritty and I'll read the lore blurbs and all of them. But we've got a lot more lore videos coming up for you. Galrock, the first Chaos Dragon's out, coming out here soon. And on Sunday, I will be streaming a Skaven campaign for the very first time. So Sunday, starting at probably 1 p.m. Pacific Standard. Come on, drop by, watch me just kind of hang out, ask me some lore questions. I want to use, and it's probably a good time to do this, as a full announcement here. On Saturdays and Sundays, I will be streaming, if I'm home. Usually on Saturdays I go do weird shit, but Saturdays I'll be streaming from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard, and on Sundays I will be streaming from hopefully 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. as well. Saturdays will be quick battles, you know, Total War quick battles, of course, and then Sundays I'll be doing Total War campaigns, but you can also use those as a time to like lore Q&A, ask me some questions about some stuff that you're really wondering about, or maybe you have some suggestions of some videos you want to see. Pop in, talk, hang out. Everyone that jumps into those live streams is always really fun to talk to and really kind of laid back. So love to have you guys swinging on by on Saturday and Sunday. But that kind of wraps this one up here today, guys. If you want to hear any more about specific lords that I've already covered, or you had some questions on them, go ahead and ask me in the comment section. But thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one and take care.